Imbolc, the celebration of the growing edge. One of the things that we are most in need of is reconnection. So much of what is out of balance in our world has to do with disconnection. Disconnection from ourselves, from nature, from each other, from our history, from the possibilities of our future. So our opening song is an invitation to look well to the growing edge, look well to the hillsides, look to nature, to heal the imbalances of our world. One of our greatest opportunities is to reconnect with nature. So join in singing this beautiful, beautiful song. The words were written by a former member of our congregation, Marion Stern, and the tune you will recognize. So you are welcome to sing along. And there's a reference in it to look at Ascutney, and Ascutney is the mountain that you can see from Springfield. It's our beauty on the hillside. So here we go. Thank you to Julaine and the virtual choir for producing that for us. Well, here we are at Imbolc, the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. I did my screen share work? Maybe not. Let me try again. There we go. There. Okay. So the winter solstice is the part at the top of that cross, and the spring equinox, March 21st, is one of the other crossbars. And Imbolc is, we're about to enter Imbolc, that in-between place where we are on the verge of spring. In the Celtic tradition, Imbolc is actually considered the beginning of spring. We often think of March 21st as the beginning of spring, but in the Celtic tradition, it's this week. Huh? It seems a bit early. But under the ground, things are starting to stir. Hard to believe as we look outside and we see snow up here in the north. And we had, I think it was 8 below where I am. I had an opportunity to travel to Ireland, which was quite wonderful. And one of the things that I did in Ireland is I took a hike at a place called Howth, which is an area just north of Dublin. It's a wilderness preserve. It's a peninsula. That Howth means head, and it's sort of shaped like a head. It's just this rounded peninsula. And my tour guide was Shane, and I was the only one on the tour. So we spent the whole morning together, really almost the whole day together, and it was fabulous. And one of the things that really struck me as we were hiking along, and he said, I'm going to show you something, and you'll be surprised. You won't know what this is. And what he showed me, and it was Imbolc. It was Imbolc, this day that I took this hike at Howth, north of Dublin. My first trip so far. This is what he showed me. You know what that is? Those of us in the Northeast or even in the East, they have them down in Georgia, as far as I know. These are wild onions. They're ramps. Yeah. And here at the very February 1st in Ireland, they were already up. They have a Gulf Stream. They have a climate that is milder than we are, even though latitude-wise we're not that much different, but they're milder. And it gave me such joy to be walking on that soil of Ireland and see this old friend of these leeks and to feel the connection with the earth here in Vermont, here in New England, here in the eastern part of the United States, where these ramps are one of the harbingers of spring, and to see them also in the wilds of Ireland on Imbolc. So it made me understand more why in the Celtic calendar, this week is considered the beginning of spring. They're a bit ahead of us. I wonder if they're eating ramps yet this week in Ireland. I hope so. And we'll have them soon. We'll have them soon as well. If you don't know them, they're between a garlic and wild onions. They're quite lovely. So, harbingers of spring, look to the growing edge, says Howard Thurman. And here in the Northeast and in Vermont, the growing edge is ramps. So thanks for listening to my story. What's it all about, folks? Why are we here? The foundation of our Springfield Meeting House, we express it each week in our affirmations. So I invite you to join us. Love is the doctrine of this community. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. Oops, we lost it. I know the old version. I always get confused. I know the original version. The Springfield Meeting House does a slight difference, and I trip over it. Okay. Love is the doctrine of this community. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve the needs of all beings to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with the source of our being. So the offering to support the work of our small and mighty congregation is an important part of who we are, and we ask your support of two things: the Meeting House itself, and Deb will pop up the slide which has the information on the Meeting House. And was anybody lucky enough to be here last week and hear Seth Frisbee's amazing presentation? It was taped. It'll be up online soon, so if you missed it, don't worry, you can still catch it. And each month we choose one organization as the recipient of our Share the Plate. And this month, Better Life Labs is the recipient of our Share the Plate. And Better Life Labs is the organization founded by Dr. Seth Frisbee and his wife, Dr. Erica Mitchell. So yeah, we invite you to support these two organizations, and Deb will put that info in. Oh, here it comes. Thank you to Jelaine and the Virtual Choir for producing that lovely piece of music for us. So what we're about today is the growing edge. In any situation, there's the dying edge and the growing edge. And in the natural world, we can look out and see where is the growing edge? What's happening? What is about to come about? And this tendency to look to the dying edge or the growing edge, where are you at with that? Where are you at with that? This service, Imbolc, is an invitation to look well to the growing edge. So let us sing together this lovely song, "In the Bulb There Is a Flower." Oh, so beautiful. Thank you for that piece, that lovely, lovely piece that the choir put together for us. So these words again from Howard Thurman. Look well to the growing edge. All around us, worlds are dying and new worlds are being born. Old worlds are dying and new worlds are being born. And the rest of that passage, I'll read you more of what Howard Thurman has to say. The fruit ripens on the tree. The roots are silently at work in the darkness of the earth against a time when there shall be new life, fresh blossoms, green fruit. Such is the growing edge. It is the extra breath from the exhausted lung, the one more thing to try when all else has failed, the upward reach of life when weariness closes in upon all endeavor. This is the basis of hope in moments of despair, the incentive to carry on when times are out of joint and people have lost their reason. It is the source of confidence when worlds crash and dreams whiten into ash. The birth of a child, life's most dramatic answer to death. This is the growing edge incarnate. Look well to the growing edge, says Howard Thurman. So here we are. This is an image of Janus, the god, the Roman god of beginnings and endings. And you see on one side, it's a double-headed god, one side looking back and one side looking forward. And what Thurman is saying is, yes, there are both. But look well to that growing edge, not to ignore the past and what has gone before, but where the hope is that growing edge. And so I want to invite you to look inside your own heart today and see, where are you at? Do you have a tendency to look at the dying edge of what you've lost, the disappointments? We need to do that. Grieving is a normal, healthy, good part of life. And sifting through the old and valuing what has happened. And at the same time, there's a growing edge. There's something that is not even seen, but deep inside, below the surface or deep inside of you, something that is about to begin. And for you, what's your tendency? To dwell on the past? Or do you already, or can you cultivate this looking well to this growing edge? And with hope, with possibility. We are in a time now, it's been almost 2 years since this lockdown, and there's some indication of perhaps this spring, the lockdown may end. Already in Ireland and in England, the mandates are no longer in place. The lockdown is over there, and other countries that were hit before us are opening up. So there's the possibility that the same will be happening here as well. So are you ready to emerge? We asked the question 2 years ago, who will we be post-pandemic? Who will you be? It's up to you. What is about to be born in you? What is emerging? So Imbolc is the time of the growing edge. One of the things that Imbolc means is in the belly. And here's a very pregnant sheep with maybe even 2 or 3 lambs. Sheep often have twins, sometimes triplets. In the belly is this new life about to be born. And for me, living up here in Vermont, one of the things that really got my attention about Imbolc and the growing edge is sugaring. I had the opportunity, I was a woofer before woofing was invented. It just means you work on a farm and you help out and you learn. So I worked in February in a farm in central Vermont, and it was time for getting ready for sugaring. And I remember being out there in the snow, and we had to drill the holes in the trees, and we weren't using hand crank like this image. We had a backpack with a battery pack on it, and we're trudging through this really deep snow, drilling holes, and it was cold and the snow was deep, and I'm thinking, really? Really? But yes, really. Even though everything around is saying winter, the trees are starting to wake up. So I want to tell you a story about my friend and neighbor. This is Don, and Don started sugaring when he was a boy. This is him working in the sugar bush. The sugar bush is what we call the area where the maple trees grow together. And so this is the fall. He's putting up. You can see the lines behind him. He's just working, putting up lines. So he started actually when he was a kid. He fell in love with sugaring when it was done the old-fashioned way. He was from New York, upstate New York. And he's had other careers. He's worked as an engineer at IBM and all of that, but his true love is sugaring. And so now this is his wife, Jody, and they don't do it the old-fashioned way with buckets. They do it with lines. You can see the line there, and they have great help from their canine companions in the woods. And this is Don in his sugar house boiling. And some years it's fabulous, and you get a lot of sap and a lot of sugar. It's a year-round proposition. You see he's stoking the fires in his sugar house, and the product, Vermont maple syrup. If we were together, I'd give you some maple sugar candies right now as a celebration. And it's a family affair. This is his son, my friend Sky, in their sugar house. So they're looking at the color of their product. And the big question is always timing. When will the sap run? And there's many ideas about this. It has to do with temperature. You need warm days where the sap rises in the trees, and cold nights where the sap goes back down. And here in Vermont, it's sometimes around town meeting day, the first Tuesday in March, but you got to get ready beforehand. And the days are getting longer. And I learned something really interesting from Don that I had not known before. Check out the base of this maple tree. You see where the snow is melting around it? Don pointed that out to me, and he said, that's the sign that the tree is waking up. When the sap rises through the trunk, it's warmer down below the snow, down where the roots are. And when the sap rises up, it starts to melt just a little bit, that line of snow around the trunk. And so when you're walking through the woods, I invite you to look for this. Look for the sign. Yeah, there's snow all around. Yeah, it's winter, but things are happening. Things are really, really happening. So how about you? What is waking up in you? What is beneath the snow, getting ready to be born? What is it? And one of the challenging things, and on its way, not right now, but on its way soon enough, will come the ramps. So, and the fiddleheads. So how about you? What's the growing edge in your life? Look well to that growing edge. What is nascent? What's in the belly for you? I want to invite us to a time of meditation, an Imbolc meditation. Choose life, choose life. Look well to that growing edge. And actually, I want to share one more thing with you, which is from the Hebrew scriptures. This was Moses, actually. He was hanging out with his people, and he had gone off to pray, gone up the mountain. And when he came back down, the people were kind of being nitwits. They were doing dumb stuff. And he said, "Come on, folks, wake up. I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life so that you and your children may live." Choose life. And that saying, that expression in Hebrew, l'chaim, it means life. Choose life. This is a choice. This is a choice that you have. Are you looking toward the dying edge with regret of what is no more? As we think about coming out of this lockdown and virus situation, the world will not be the same. Are you going to spend your time lamenting of what is no longer? In that image of Janus, the two-faced God looking back to, oh, too bad. The invitation from Moses and the invitation from Howard Thurman, the invitation from the great mystics of all traditions is choose life. Look to the growing edge. Yes, acknowledge and mourn for what is past, but make your affirmation so that you and your children may be blessed. Make your affirmation. L'chaim. Choose life. So let's do an Imbolc meditation. Here's some questions that I'm inviting you to sit with. Look to the growing edge. Where is the sap starting to flow? Look for the signs in the natural world externally and in the natural world internally and who you are. So be still, listen, and witness what's unfolding. And what is it the right time for? And notice when the sap begins to rise. So let us just sit in silence for a minute with these questions. Look well to the growing edge inside of you. There is something that is wanting to be born in you. What is it? What is it? We're going to continue our exploration of these questions and our meditation. And you have a choice right now. You can stay as you are. And if you have a journal, you can write, you can go grab a pen and a piece of paper and write and meditate. And Julaine will give us some musical accompaniment. If you're feeling like it would enrich your experience to have a conversation with others about what is unfolding, what is your growing edge, then you are welcome at this point to go to a breakout room. You don't have to, totally up to you. You can stay here and we will meditate together with Julaine's music, or you can go to a breakout room. So, and the breakout rooms will be about 7 minutes or so. So Deb is going to put up an invitation for you to join the breakout room. If you want to stay and meditate with the music, just don't go to the breakout room. Just say no and stay here. But if you want to have a conversation, then by all means, pop into a breakout room, make some new friends, connect with old friends, and let that spiritual conversation bring you deeper into connection with your growing edge. So here we go. Okay, so I want to share with you a little bit more about my friend Don, and actually something that came up in the small group that I was in. So there's this tendency that many of us have to look back, and there's also this growing edge. And Howard Thurman is saying, look well to that growing edge, l'chaim, choose life. And there's the present moment. And to make a choice, we need to be in the present moment. To see what is unfolding right now, we have to be in the present moment. If we're too far into the future, we can't feel what is actually happening. If we're too far in the past, we can't feel what is emerging. So when we spend time, especially in nature, when we listen, what do we find? What do we find? My neighbor, Don, I mentioned him at the beginning. This is Don in his sugar house. Well, in the sugar house, there's a whiteboard that's up on the wall. And he has on the whiteboard a drawing of his sugar bush. So here are the various lines and the streams and the roads. And can you see what he found in the middle? I'll give you another shot, maybe a better shot of it. You see, God is here. God is here. And God wants you and me. God is here and God wants you and me. And when I first saw that in Don's sugar house, it gave me so much joy. So this may Imbolc, the season of the growing edge, may it be an opportunity for you to spend some time in nature, even if it's cold, to sit at the window at the very least and look out and reconnect, because to heal our world, we need to be connected with nature. And may Imbolc be an invitation for you to be in the present moment and notice the growing edge. Not too far in the past, not too far in the future, but in the present moment. And in so doing, find the divine, find the ultimate. God is here. God is here. The source is here in this present moment, in this growing edge, which is you, about to come out into spring, out of the lockdown, inshallah, out into life. So be here now with yourself in the sacredness of your being with its beauty and its growing edge. You. Unrepeated in all time, as Marian wrote in those beautiful words in our opening hymn, you are special. You are growing edge. The world needs you. The world needs you. Connected with nature, connected with your source, connected with the beauty of the unfolding of your life. Let's sing together our closing song, which is from the Celtic tradition, Deep Peace. It has all the elements in it. So it's an invitation to connect with nature and with yourself. So you can mute yourself and sing along. Feel yourself being washed over all of those elements in that song. So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that. We have the tradition of sharing our joys and our sorrows. So actually, let's extinguish the chalice first so we can turn off the recording, because the joys and sorrows are often private. So yeah. So here are these words from Howard Thurman for extinguishing our chalice. We must find our place in the areas of new vitalities, the place where the old is breaking up and the new is being born. What a moment to be alive. And more importantly, what a moment to be aware. The words of Howard Thurman. Sharon has the bell for us.